Alright, what's going on? Everyone, Supreme Kami over here. So we're gonna be doing the EXQ showcase for the Gundam Livelance Heavens over here. So, man, if you guys have seen the summoning already, I was able to rainbow this whole guy over here, get the whole set. We got from the head to the melee weapon, everything over here essentially. So it's just a quick spin over here. This is how it looks like. So in terms of the backpack cloak over here, this actually opens up. It's not you're not able to have like the option of like closing it or whatnot. But I believe during the custom EXQ, it temporarily is able to, I believe, close a little bit. I mean, like I don't really care too much about having it close or not. I think me personally, I think it looks a little bit better in terms of like having it open. It just looks a little bit more majestic, if you will. So, in terms of the actual model based in the game, I mean, like it doesn't look all that crispy, like not like really high definition on that all that. Like if you guys see like inside the backpack panels and whatnot, like you can see a little bit just a little bit more pixelated. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like some units they look really good in game, but some just feels like to me it just not in terms of the model, it's just not as good as I hope it would be, right? But nonetheless, this is gonna be our third battle log suit over here. So I think we do have quite a few to kind of get through it now. We got the perfect strike, the perfect strike freedom. We got the commando quanta. I think probably the most people are hyped about is gonna be the Barbados Taurus. I think that's even like the main antagonist of the Balog series, if they will, right? In terms of the EXQ you have for this guy over here, let's kind of jump back into this. You do have this Mega Sonic Cannon over here that's going to give you a B Pierce and D power. So obviously, if you want to do more power, this is something you're going to have to alterate yourself. In terms of the exclusion over here, this is going to come in the A minus Pierce and C power over here. This is also something you do want to alterate in order to just do a little bit more power. Keep this in mind. This is starting out at a C power because if you guys see the first time users over here, normally in these kind of like I call them custom EXQ, they usually come in around 30-second ish over here. That's why this one coming in at 12 second, they would nerf it just a little bit. I would say the overall of this exclusion EXQ is just on paper is not that good, just because you're not benefiting from any additional effects, so that's gonna hurt a lot. Depending on what kind of portrait you're looking at, so that's why like a portrait that gives you like buff effect skills up, you cannot benefit anything from here because there's not any additional buffers and whatnot. So that's why you got to be a little bit careful. I do believe that people wouldn't do have a tendency of going for EXQ that gives you a lot of good effects and all that. I would say this one's probably not going to be it. But I mean, unless people do extremely like the exclusion, I would say this is definitely not something to really go for. In terms of lance throw over here, we do have quite a few, throw type melee weapons over here. So this one's gonna come in at B plus and a D power. So obviously, like I said again, if you want to do the most amount of damage, this is definitely something you want to be alternating. Obviously, but if you purely want some throw type melee weapon or EXQ, we currently do have a lot in game already. In forms like those standard 4-star standard parts, so they will be quite a lot more easier to just get them up to that level 10 EXQ level, so they will ultimately out damage what this one can do, right? Because in order to get this guy up to level 10, you will need to put 12 additional parts, which is I don't know, that's probably like the hardest thing to do, right? So I would say these, um, you know, in terms of these type of throw weaponry, I would say I'll give it to those warfare and then those standards. I think they'll definitely do a much better job, So that's that, right? I think up to alteration, it should be like a power ish, like a. Is it? Let me double check. I am pretty curious now again, as I have forgot about that right now. In terms of the throw, lance throw, what are we looking at? Okay, A Pierce and B plus, yeah, that's pretty extremely similar or exactly the same as the welfare guy shoot throws. So you guys are looking at the same stats, but one is easy to level 10 up to that EXC level 10, and this one's probably gonna be at that base level 1 for a extremely long time. So without further ado, let's actually hop into some regular multi mission, as I'm just gonna test out some different scenarios. What can they do? What kind of range are we looking at? And then let's jump into it. Alright, so we are back once again on this map again. I think this map is pretty good in terms of like testing out what I need to do over here. So per usual, I'm just gonna try to take out the first three or the first wave over here. They're just a little bit more of an annoyance over here. So we can just kind of see what the exclusion can kind of do over here. You guys can see we were able to kind of do some chip damage to both enemy per time. But unfortunately, we were only able to take out one of them. So that's going to be the downside factor right there. But as you guys can see, when I was using the exclusion, they were able to hit me for pretty hard. So I would say completely this is not going to be the most reliable custom EX to be using. Because generally you do not even want to be taking any damage, right? So front and center again, let's actually use the Mega Sonic Cannon. Keep this in mind, this is going to be on a melee build. If I was on a shooter build, I'm pretty sure with this ranged type EX skill, I should be able to hit across and hit that enemy straight in front of me. But this is just the whole animation that's all you're going to be getting. It's just a straight beam across. So as you guys can see, it did not reach it up because keep this in mind, this is on my melee build. If I was to put this on my shooter build, I would say 10 out of 10 times it should be able to hit if I'm not mistaken. But let's see what this last throw can hit. Like, is it going to be able to reach? No, I think it stopped right across that very front line before we hit the other two corners. But let's see the exclusion over here. Like, what are we able to do? Okay, is you gonna give you like a medium type dash and then some pow pow shooting right there, and we're gonna get off like a final like a forward dash and all that. But you guys can see when I was using the exclusion, well, with multiple enemy nearby, I was able to just kind of hit a little bit up them per time. But as you guys can see, let's say if I was like just a little bit further right here, I think it should be able to connect. No, there's just not a lot of range to it. That's the whole problem. They're just I would say is not the best of range in a way. If you want to put it that, it's just not enough. Like just me personally, I feel like it could be a little bit more forward dash to it. Like even if I was right here, right, I think right here would be typically a good range for a dash and kissing EX to activate, right? So let's say I'm right here, right, like around this distance. This is like I would say a completely fine cut area, right, where I can just activate my kissing EX and give me like that forward dash. But what this one actually gives, right? Once you kind of go for like that little bit of a dash, it just immediately goes into whatever attacks it's doing. So that's why it's not that's why this one has to be in extremely close proximity before you can kind of activate and all that. But you guys can see we were able to get some multiple hits in there as well. We can just kind of demonstrate this one more time. So we have a 3 enemies set up over here, so I think it should hit one on the right. Yeah, so in a case where your enemy just decided to dash back like that, you're just not going to be able to you know continue it, or just can't really go with it anymore. So let me just kind of clear this out right here. So I would say just looking at this right here, like I feel like the uh what is it, the last throw is actually is definitely good. Like we can just kind of see what kind of range we're looking at. I think if I am right about here, I should be able to hit that target. Yeah, I don't know how far of a range you want to call that, but you guys can see it is pretty decent, right? I'm pretty sure all of those like throw type melee weapons should have the same exact range. I don't think any one of them has more or less range than one another, so that's why these are good. But I would say the standard, be it the and also the warfare one, are definitely a lot more easier to access, and just a lot way more easier to get this up to level 10, right? So I'm just gonna fire this Kirby Spear right here, or Kirby Beam, and then I'm just gonna do this. If the other three in the back is gonna come in, we would be able to get multiple enemies as we did right there. So let's say in a scenario where you are gonna be able to, knock down one enemy, for example, in a group, you like whatever is left in terms of the animation will carry over to the next one. So that is something you can just kind of keep in mind right there as well. So you don't have to worry about the EXQ being wasted or whatnot. So I guess that is kind of something you can say that's good about that, right? I think most majority of them does, kind of redirect to another enemy right after like it kills one of them. But I think the huge problem with this EXQ is just like you take damage. Like why? Like it's just not good, right? Taking damage is definitely not going to be a good sign. Especially this one is not going to be giving you any, healing. It's not going to be giving you any additional buff. So that's why I would kind of give the the backpack Cassie EXQ maybe like a 6 out of 10. So I think that's probably how I will be rating it for now. All right. So with that being said, that was just a quick demonstration of the EX skill of what the Lifelines habits can kind of do right here. I would say I'm a little bit disappointed in terms of the backpack because the EX skill just being able to take damage while I'm executing it is just not gonna be like the best case scenario. In terms of like the actual move itself, I would have liked to have a little bit of a better range, a forward dash, before it starts, stabbing the enemy and whatnot, and then, there's a little bit of a shooting action. I would say it does take a little bit away from the overall damage wise, because that is more of like a shooting type, EXQ base and all that. So whatever is coming out of your shooter department, if you're not packing too much into it, man, that's gonna be a pretty huge problem right there, right? I'm talking about you guys are not packing enough of those. Let's say like the actual like the EXQ power boostings and all that. I would say those few shooting right there may not be the most impressive and all that. Even the final strike, I feel like it could have been done a little bit better. That's just probably my opinion. The lance thrower is pretty much alright. I think the range is pretty satisfiable, depending on what you guys are using in different scenario. But like I said, I think the free to play option like the guy shield, and then maybe some of those standard parts are probably, or yeah, those standard parts are definitely gonna be on a better edge, just because they're easy to get them up to like a better EXT level, which will enable better damage and all that. In terms of the Mega Sonic Cannon, I don't really have too much to say for that. I think we have seen so many of those variation already. In terms of the range, obviously I was using a melee suit, so that's why you're not gonna be seeing like the most impressive range slash damage, right? So I think that's gonna be pretty much it. I think the overall suit, like just now bringing everything like in together, I think probably the only part that's impressive was like the 40% trade legs, and then other than that, I think all the other one are pretty much lackluster. Like they have the audacity to give a um gradually raise your armor by 20. I think that's a little bit too ridiculous coming from the fact this is like a super Sokai unit. Granted, if you want to go with the overall theme of this is like a left lance heaven, so this is opposite of the this type, so this is more of like an angelic, type unit. So giving help is like, oh, it might fit the theme. But if you guys are wanting to give like a hell restoration type kind of deal, like at least make it a little bit better, or at least make it go up all the way up to like I don't know, like 500 or 300 ish around that area, because like 200 is or 20 for this one is just too ridiculous, right? So that's pretty much it, right? I think the arm, in terms of the arm traits, that really depends on whether or not you want to be like a reduction type build, meaning you want to be able to reduce your enemy whatever they're doing. So I think that should be pretty much it with what I want to talk about. I think maybe later on, a few days later, I might have a little bit more to say about the Livelance over here. But just looking at this right now, I think the only thing promising is only that 40% trade leg. And then other than that, I mean the stat is good, but stat alone is not gonna make a part good. I would say the overall, cohesive, just being able to synergize with different parts, I think that's probably the most important thing you want to be looking at. So that being said, this is gonna be the the EXT demonstration for the Live Lance Heavens over here. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video over here, and then I will catch you guys with more videos later on.